Let's talk to Councillor Meirion Jenkins, Shadow Cabinet Member for Finance at Birmingham City Council, the man that keeps us up to date with the Birmingham bin strike, because it turns out, Councillor Meirion, very good morning to you, the strike is going to go on, I think, for another several months, possibly up to Christmas.
Yes, that's right. The union held a ballot. They had a high turnout, 75% and 97%, I see reported, of the workers voted to continue the strike, and that means that the union wouldn't need to reballot again until December. So there's the prospect for it to carry on right up through the winter.
I mean, it seems inconceivable to me that they can't sort this out. It's almost as though they don't want to. You know, who's at fault here?
It's clear who's at fault, and that's the Labour administration in Birmingham, Mike. I mean, we called for a debate on this several months ago, to discuss what we think is the solution. In fact, it's the only solution to resolve this. And Labour just refused to even allow us to debate it. They're in a very difficult situation because they've got themselves into a bind that goes back to a series of historical mistakes since 2017. They're in a position where about half the existing cabinet are members of Unite, which is the union that they're in dispute with, so they're hopelessly conflicted. And they're in a position where they have to take some decisions that will be very unpopular with the union, because if they don't do that, then the equal pay liability that is continuing to build up in Birmingham will just get larger and larger.
Yeah, I mean, it is ridiculous. And why is there no interference in this whole debacle from Angela Rayner and the main sort of government of this land? Because it turns out that they are in receipt of quite a lot of money from the Unite Union, which may be the reason why they don't want to get involved. But surely that should be the reason they should get involved, to say to Unite, look, you know, you might be bankrolling some of what we do, but you need to, you know, sharpen up here and just do a deal.
Yeah, well, quite. I mean, I can understand why the government wouldn't want to get involved, because it's a very difficult dispute for the Labour movement. It was Labour legislation, but back in the days of Blair and Brown, that caused this equal pay problem. It was then the Labour administration in Birmingham that failed to act, essentially by putting a job evaluation scheme in place. They failed to act since 2017, so you're talking about 6 years, even though we warned them at the time. So they've accrued this huge equal pay liability that is getting worse by up to £14 million a month until they put an evaluation scheme in place. But part of doing that means they have to downgrade some of the workers. And there's two separate groups. They have to end the grade 3s that they created, that should never have been created. But it's got worse since this started. They now have to downgrade all the drivers from grade 4 to grade 3. So it's understandable why the workers are upset. But the Labour Council have no choice. If they don't do this, then they continue to rack up an equal pay liability from the claims of all the people who are not bin men, but are doing jobs that can be compared with bin men, which is the consequence of that crazy legislation that was introduced in the dying days of the Blair-Brown era.
Yeah. Absolutely shocking state of affairs. Councillor, very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. Meirion Jenkins there telling us why this seemingly intractable dispute is going to continue to go on for at least the next several weeks and months, and possibly all the way up to Christmas. Absolutely extraordinary.